This is Harry Houdini, the master magician. The whole world must miss Houdini, certainly the whole theater world, because he was, without any question, the greatest showman of our time. Nobody, as a matter of fact, who ever played the halls, either in England or America or anywhere, received his salary, and nobody deserved it, because he could get out of anything. As you may remember, he was called an escapologist, an escape king. He was an expert in miracles. I'm proud to say he was my teacher in magic when I was young. As a favor to my father, he did give me my first lessons in the art of conjuring. But I'd like to tell you my favorite story about Houdini. Had to do with his visit to the Kremlin, the night he rang the bells in the Kremlin. This was in a private performance for the royal family, for the Tsar and the royal family, with Rasputin in the background gnashing his teeth with jealous rage. And Houdini had asked for the various people in the small audience to write on slips of paper some impossible thing they would like to have performed. And one of them had written, "Ring the bells in the Kremlin," or so Houdini had arranged it that this would be chosen apparently by free choice. And to ring the bells in the Kremlin may not sound like much, but as a matter of fact, at that time, there were no ropes connecting the bells, and for a century at least, they'd been silent. So after this command, Houdini moved to the window, raised his arm. It was a snowy night. There was a moment's very dramatic pause, and then over the snow-covered square, there could be heard first very dimly and then finally in full chorus the bells of the Kremlin. You could imagine the effect of that, particularly on Rasputin. Now, ordinarily, I don't explain how tricks are done. No magician, amateur or professional, likes to do that. But in this particular case, I think I can tell you that since it's unlikely that anyone will be doing this particular trick again, as Houdini raised his hand, his wife, who was standing at a window in a hotel at the other side of the square, which was right near the bell tower, his wife received the signal and with an air gun shot the bells. Bing, boom, 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 like that.
Hey. Hello, young man. Your Majesty, it's an honor to play the palace.
So kind.
I'd love to see if I could make one of your family's wishes come true.
Oh.
Would each of you write a special wish on these slips of paper?
I see Your Majesty has a Fabergé egg.
It's very beautiful. Would you mind if I place the wishes inside of it?
Not at all.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, Grand Duchess Anastasia, will you draw one out and hand it to me? I just realized I can't read Russian. Would Your Majesty mind translating for me?
I'm afraid you will never be able to grant a wish, Houdini.
Well, let me give it a shot, Your Majesty. Huh? What does it say?
One of us wishes you would make the Kremlin bells ring again.
Impossible. Houdini, the Kremlin bells have not rung for 100 years. The ropes are long rotted, and the stairs are falling away.
Well, if magic were easy, Your Majesty, every fool would be doing it. What did he? I'm sorry, I don't know the gentleman's name.
Rasputin. Rasputin says you are full of...
Ah, I get the general idea. Well, we'll see.
Grand Duchess Anastasia, come. Pull the rope.
Pull it again. Pull the rope.
Pull it. So even Rasputin, a man obsessed with religion and mysticism, couldn't see through my little parlor trick.
Well, wonders never cease. Huh? Hey, big guy, I bet you'd love to give me a punch, huh? Punch? You know you're itching.
One thing I learned a long time ago, never let him know what's really going on inside.
Thank you.
It's always struck me as a particularly ingenious miracle. And of course, those kind of tricks are the best, really. There are all kinds of tricks. As I say, he taught me magic, taught me the beginnings of magic. I had other teachers, including the great Chinese long-tack Sam, but Houdini was the disciplinarian. I'd sit in his dressing room backstage at the Hippodrome or wherever it happened to be, and he'd make me go over and over in a trick. He told me once, I remember, you must practice a trick, Orson, 1,000 times before you perform it. But I was absorbing this. I remember when there was a knock on the door, and a fellow from Karl Bremer, who was a manufacturer and artisan of magic tricks, came in and said, "Hello, Harry, I've just got a new vanishing lamp. Here it is. New principle." Harry said, "Fine, I'll put it in the show tonight." That was the beginning of, well, of great disillusionment on my part. Because, of course, you don't practice tricks 1,000 times. You practice sleights, methods of doing tricks. But I must apologize because I'm sure that I'm not interesting the ladies, because the very subject of magic is not deeply interesting to the female sex, as all magicians know to their cost. I remember once performing a miracle rather in the style of Houdini's, a humble little miracle, but it cost me $75 to do, in honor of a young lady whom I was courting. And this was the miracle. I asked her, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Central Park, if she would take a card, any card. All ladies know how boring that is, but I didn't know that it was boring, and I asked her to take any card. She took the card I wanted to, and I asked her, would she like the card in her purse or in my pocket, or would she like it written in the sky, written in the sky? She said written in the sky, and I pointed a la Houdini to the heavens. And she looked up, and there, sure enough, written in the heavens over New York was the 7 of Hearts. I'd hired a sign writer, a sky writer, one of those airplanes with the smoke, and given him $75 to write the name of the card in the sky. But as I say, she said, well, you must have seen it up there before you did the trick. Anyway, it's just a trick. You see, magic is not really for the ladies. They don't like to be fooled. You watch an audience when a conjurer is working. The men will all say, oh, that's interesting. How does he do that? And the girls will all say, well, it's very clever, of course, but it's a trick. There must be some way of doing it. And you do another trick, and usually we bring out those silk scarves and those awful-looking feather flowers and all those things that we use in magic. The purpose of all that is to brighten things up and to keep the ladies' eyes focused on the stage. And the jokes that we try to tell and the other things we do are to cheer them up, because, as I say, they become increasingly irritable. There's always the rather hard expression coming into the eyes, and invariably before the evening is over, the remark, well, of course there's a way of doing it. I didn't know that when I spent the $75 on the skywriter.